So this is the podcast. Just showing you a little behind the scenes here. That's Rick doing the logo, and he's drawn himself as the monster from Nosferatu known as Count Orlok, and I am Dracula from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And that was the first take. That was a good first take.
That was a great first take.
All right, that would be great if it was the first take. Yeah, I gotta turn that towards you, because...
Turn it towards me. Turn to the evil of the night, yes.
Yeah, see, he does this crap all the time, so I figured might as well cash in on it. So, we were gone for a week because of scheduling stuff.
Yeah.
But this is still the podcast.
Hey.
And this is Don't Start Me Talkin'. I'm Bennie Williams.
I'm Rick Owens. And just like that slap-headed fellow from Stained used to say, it's been a while. Damn it. I turned it down. All my volume's down. I don't know why it does that.
Nope, don't need networks.
How you like that? How you like them apples?
I think it's good.
That way you look haunted.
See, it's Mario. It's Mario Wonder.
Give you one of these.
Look at all the people you could be. Right off the bat, you can be Mario or Luigi, or Peach or Daisy. You could be a yellow Toad or a blue Toad. You could be Toadette. All these Yoshis.
And Nabbit.
And Nabbit. Who showed up first in the New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I think. Or maybe Wii U. But I'm always Luigi. Because I have no personality. And I have older brothers.
That's Luigi's whole character.
What are you doing?
Giving him the little
all right.
structure to the face there, buddy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. So hit gallery. I'll export all that stuff later. I'm just looking at the... Oh, this is great. This is great right away. It feels perfect, and it looks like a cartoon.
Yeah. Looks great. I have the Nintendo 64 thing on my Switch. Whatever 5 games they give you, but Paper Mario is one of them. I'm excited to play that again.
Paper Mario is always good. And they've done a Paper Mario reboot this year, didn't they? Or a remaster of one of them.
Yeah.
Which one was it? The GameCube one?
I think so.
So. I think I'm podcast today. We should talk about Halloween.
Welcome to NPR. Today we are going to talk about the types of candles and how they are offensive to people of color that they sell at the Yankee Candle.
And how Aboriginal candles are much more eco-friendly, more environmentally conscious.
They use the rendered human fat that they find that flew down the river, you see, and then people washing their clothes and their bodies in the river to where people were killed.
Move that mic closer to your elbow. A little bit more. Right to that's good. Also, let's get a little bit of slack for you.
A little bit of slack. Got me some slack, huh?
Get our wires crossed here.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh.
All right, so this is the real start of the podcast now that the work is done.
Yes, here we are.
So we'll use a little bit of what the first part was, and then we'll come back to this.
Yeah. I had a good line in there. I want to make sure it's in there.
It won't be.
Oh, please? I never get anything in this.
This is Don't Start Me Talkin'. We're talking Halloween today.
Halloween again.
Halloween again, because every year I try to watch a bunch of Halloween movies.
I do too.
But I am bad at it. Like, for years I didn't. So now I'm catching up as like a 30-year-old.
They have like lists that you can like a 31-day list of like all the shittiest ones that
I don't want to.
It's like your aunt made one, you know, and it's like, oh, you can't miss Scream 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Hocus Pocus again. I've seen Hocus Pocus enough times for my lifetime. When I have kids, I'll watch Hocus Pocus again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, go out of my way to watch Halloween Town or anything like that. I'm not, too old. But the first thing that I was like, I really should sit down and watch both of these franchises because I've seen the first film of Alien.
Right.
Never saw anything else, and I never saw any Predator.
Right.
Nothing.
Predator, though, I say is more of like a thriller.
Yeah.
Than like a horror movie.
No, but because the two are linked.
They're equated, yeah.
Yeah, and Predator kind of becomes more of
It's become more of a horror series, too.
Yeah. He's always there with the horror monsters and stuff.
That first Alien movie does one of my favorite things that a lot of horror movies don't do now. Some of the sleeper ones, like the A24, are doing it now again.
Yeah.
But they don't show the fucking monster
right
away. It's scary because the alien, all you can see is the glimmer off its sheen of like it's a wet creature crawling through this dark tunnel. That's all you see. You never really see a close-up of it. Right. So it's so much more fucking... It allows your mind to go in there, and as opposed to, like fucking any of the newer movies do today, where they immediately show the creature on the box or on the poster.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's what it is now.
Like Cloverfield, for all its problems, I thought that was the best part of that concept, was that you don't see it until the very, very end, and a lot of people hate that you see it. They hate that they threw the monster in at the end, because
you don't need to.
Right. It could have been anything. It could have been a terrorist attack, could have been anything that you wanted it to be, and then at the end it's like confirmed it's definitely a monster.
The Mist.
Yeah.
The Mist is another good one.
Yeah.
Because you don't see what's going on, and I think at the end it's revealed. Frank Darabont.
Yeah, as the military comes in, the mist is being cleared away and everything like that. And that's another one, that's like a perfect Halloween horror movie to watch.
So you've crapped on The Walking Dead before.
Yeah, because it's awful.
It is awful, I admit it. But
yeah.
The first two seasons, I'd say, are watchable, because Frank Darabont, who did Shawshank Redemption, and The Mist, if you watch The Mist...
And The Green Mile.
And The Green Mile. A lot of those characters, the actors in those movies, came to AMC and did Walking Dead with him. And then, so you'll recognize a lot of people from the same thing.
Yeah, they caused a whole big problem with him.
Whole big problem. And then they ousted him.
Yeah.
So horror movies.
Generally, I think I talked about this last time too. I was never a big fan because as a kid I watched a movie called The Others. It scared the shit out of me. And it was just because I was like in 5th grade or 4th grade or something, and I probably shouldn't have watched it. But if you don't know The Others, spoilers for The Others with Nicole Kidman. But the movie is about a mother and her 2 kids who move into this old house that seems to be haunted. And there are these 2 old caretakers, and the kids are like allergic to the sun. So if they are in the sun, their skin will like boil, and it's like a concern for their mom, so she keeps them inside and hides them away and stuff. But all these crazy things keep happening at the house, and gets worse and worse until finally there's a seance in the house of all these ghosts, and it turns out that it's the other way around. Nicole Kidman and her kids are the ghosts, so are the caretakers, and these people are the new owners of the house trying to like exorcise the ghosts. But there's a scene of the caretakers are coming up the stairs, and Nicole Kidman has a shotgun, which how does a ghost get a shotgun, but whatever. And she's shooting down the stairs at these 2 idiots coming up the stairs at her, and they're not dying. And so she's freaking out, and that's kind of, I think, when they find out, like, oh, where are the ghosts? And there's this book that the old owners of the house had, I guess, that's just a bunch of people dead. It's like a bunch of pictures of dead people, with their eyes closed, kind of like the Kissing Kate Barlow thing from Holes.
Yeah.
It was that part when she's shooting them and they won't die, and then she finds out she's a ghost or whatever, and I was just like freaking out, telling my stepmom, like, why'd you make me watch this? Because I was, too young. And then I think I mentioned this too, but Sin City, there's the part with Elijah Wood where he's a cannibal. My brother showed me just that part out of context, nothing else, and I never watched Sin City. To this day, never watched Sin City. Have seen parts, bits and pieces, but like overall, no. Not for me.
It's a pretty good one. The second one, I don't know why they did it, but like...
Because... Money, yeah.
Money.
George Miller had more stories from that series, and they decided to do them. And
Is it George Miller or Frank Miller?
Frank Miller. George Miller is the Happy Feet guy.
Yeah. Kind of a different...
Mad Max, really. George Miller is Mad Max.
Just take Happy Feet and Sin City, and let's combine the two to make the next summer blockbuster Tom Cruise.
It's still called Sin City, but now it stars penguins trying to make it big in Las Vegas. It's a whole different story.
Yeah, we can't fly.
I'm trying to think of any other horror movies and stuff as a kid. I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was never a problem. I tuned into stuff that was like spooky, or I liked a lot of like Chris Angel, Mind Freak, magic stuff like that, which I think is kind of the showman-y side of Halloween stuff. My opinion is like magic and all that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, didn't watch him, didn't like him, and went to film school and kind of realized like, well, I need to sit down and watch some of them. So I went through Jason and Freddy, all those movies. I had a whole list of movies that people made for me that was just like, you should go through these. I went through all the Halloweens when Halloween 2018 came out. I think it was 2018, right?
I believe so, yeah. 2018, the first one.
So I watched all the Halloweens, even the ones that weren't canon anymore.
That's a shame.
Yeah, they were bad.
They're really bad.
Yeah. Same thing with Freddy and Jason, though. Like, most of those movies are terrible. I watched all the Screams.
I'm not a fan of the Scream ones.
I also watched all the Scary Movie movies.
Yeah,
because
I liked those.
I enjoyed Scary Movie 1. I thought 2 was way funnier than 1.
Yeah.
And then 3, jokes here and there, nothing too big. 4 has an intro that's one of my favorite things ever, where it saw with, is it Shaquille O'Neal and Dr. Phil? Yeah, and Dr. Phil cuts off his own foot, and then he realizes he cut off the wrong one, and when he falls back, his foot is the 4. Yeah. Like, his feet make up a 4.
He's like, oh, god damn it, I've cut off my own foot. Oprah,
I watched that movie for the first time on an iPod photo, or an iPod video.
Why?
Because my brother put a bunch of movies on there, and I had that. Drag Me to Hell, I watched at the same time.
Ooh.
Drag Me to Hell also was a movie that I loved at the time, but as soon as I was done watching it, was like terrified, and I still think about that scene at the end of that movie, which, spoilers for Drag Me to Hell, I guess, but she gets pulled underneath a train by demons down to hell, and it's the craziest, like, shock ending I had seen up to that point. I still love it. Sam Raimi, it's awesome.
So, you've been watching a couple since, like, you've been watching movies.
This month.
Do you have any sleeper takes, that aren't really big out there that everybody talks about?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at, like, picking a movie out and being like, oh, nobody watches this, everybody should. But horror stuff, for me, I still feel like most of it's cheap crap.
It is.
The good stuff is the stuff everybody says is good. Your Exorcist. I never liked Rosemary's Baby very much. I think the end of Rosemary's Baby is amazing, but the movie leading up to it's like, eh. But once you get the spoilers for Rosemary's Baby,
it's been out for 80 years.
Yeah, with Mia Farrow starring. But
as the baby.
The end of the movie has one of my favorite things ever, which is a bunch of old people start saying, like, "Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Hail Satan!" And then Mia Farrow goes over to the bassinet, or the crib that has the baby in it, and just looks in, and it's just this horrified face, and that's the end of the movie, because it's like a demon. It's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
In the last few years, I mean, I love Barbarian. Everybody loved Barbarian. So, like, it's hard to pick a movie and be like, oh, yeah, this is truly great. Everybody should watch this. But the hot take I guess I got from watching all the Alien stuff, Alien and Predator, is that I don't like what Prometheus and Alien Covenant do to explain the alien.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like what they did in Alien versus Predator. As stupid as it is, If there's going to be a reason for the alien to exist, I would rather it be the Predator fucked up and was like, oh, we'll make the perfect prey, and it's got acid blood and all this crap, and then it's like, oh shit, like they're loose.
It's got that tongue fork.
Yeah. Like that.
I'm sorry, LeBlanc.
How dare you?
Photosynthesizing in front of us. Look at that.
But the explanation in Alien versus Predator is just that. It's that the Predators, as a race, came to Earth. They were like Aztec gods. It's very dumb. It's not a good movie. But they created the alien as a way to create the perfect prey. It's like the perfect thing to be hunted. And that's a cool idea.
Yeah, it is.
But the rest of the movie is just bullshit. It's just a jump scare after another inside of an old pyramid.
Did you watch that newer Predator that came out?
Yeah, Prey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Okay, Prey. Yeah, I liked it.
Prey was good.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, jumping ahead. Sorry.
So anyways, what I was saying was that I like the explanation for the alien from those movies. The one from Alien Covenant and Prometheus is that David the android, who is obsessed with Peter O'Toole from Lawrence of Arabia, got bored and thought he could make a better humanity, and because he is an android who is imbued with creative spark like originality, he was like, oh, I could make better than humans. And the thing he makes is like a poisonous screeching monster with acid blood that if you tried to kill it, you would die. Because it's impossible to kill. If you're on a spaceship with the thing, you can't completely kill it without throwing it out the airlock or something, because it'll incinerate the ship from the inside out, and it'll just never stop eating through the ship, the blood. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like this dumb, heady, like, well, what if robots could think of how to make life? And I just don't care. I don't...
I don't... So there's so many movies like that, not just in the horror, but it is a big
Well, we'll
part.
get to that.
Oh,
but
go ahead.
I'm still... No, I'm just...
Go ahead.
I'm just messing with you now.
That's like... Technology is evil. Like that type of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Where they've done Facebook. They've done Facebook killer movies. They've done AI killer movies. They've done, like... all these... where it's, oh, technology is evil, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Betty Ann, what are you doing? I'm being cyberbullied or some shit.
Yeah.
But a lot of Lifetime movies are about, like, stuff like that, where it's like, you know... ugh.
Yeah.
It's overdone, it's hacky, it's bullshit. Just do something new. That's, like, you know...
Like,
good.
there was a thriller a couple of years ago that was really good, Searching, which was told from the perspective of, like, the computer screen. And it's a thriller about a father trying to find his daughter. And it's this complicated web. You're watching him over the course of a few months or weeks trying to piece together where his daughter is and talk to people and take video calls and voice calls and stuff like that over the computer. And that was a really unique idea. Nobody else seems to do anything clever like that with it. Like, it's just like, I got a new friend on the MySpace. Oh, you did? He's a cursed ancient spirit who figured out how to get into a computer, so you and your friends will die in 5 days.
Better run to your local fucking curio store that also does, like, supernatural. It's always some shit like that.
Yeah.
They run in. It's the same guy in every movie. He's like, what do you kids want? You want to buy this monkey's paw?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's always that type of shit. And you're like, come on, man.
Yeah. The reason that I think I turned away from it, though, is because, like, when I was growing up, it was Scream. I also watched all the Final Destination movies last year. Scream, Final Destination, Saw, and there were two sides of horror. There was, like, thrills and screams, and then there was, like, torture porn.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. Hostel, Saw,
Green
Room?
No, there's like a super brutal movie. I'll think of it. Green Volcano, something like that. I forget.
Don't know.
But it's like people out in the woods and a lot of cannibalizing of bodies. So
Yeah.
I'll figure it out and put it up there.
Soylent Green?
No, but that's another good one.
Well, the end of Soylent Green is the
Yeah.
You know, it's people.
It's people.
Spoilers for Soylent Green.
It came out 137 years ago.
Yeah.
A Modest Proposal.
Yeah, right. Let's just eat them. I mean, you know.
Just eat the Irish. Why don't...
Spoilers for A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift.
Cheers.
Right?
Yeah.
Gulliver's Travels guy. I took one literature course that involved him. And in college, I had to read Gulliver's Travels, and high school.
It's a fine book. That scared me as a kid. I didn't want to be tied down by little people.
This is what I deal with. He thinks he's going to be tied down by little people.
I've been to a lot of noir clubs, okay? So it happens. It's a possibility.
So back to movies.
Yeah.
The Final Destination ones, those are another one that are just this weird series of crap.
They're good to see, like...
It was somewhat entertaining to watch it, but I just don't... I didn't like them. I thought they were a crappy premise, and it's just another one of those, like, how can we kill somebody and make it look real cool on film? And I just don't care.
Whenever I watch it, I put those movies in the same way that I see, like, what's the one video no one wants to see? Fireworks, right? Everybody fucking does it.
Sure.
But like, I don't want to see, like, you know, it does nothing for me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be, like, in the movie, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and it's dog shit. It's hot dog shit.
Yeah.
It's microwave dog shit on a platter of Vindaloo. Like, that's those movies.
Gotcha.
And now you can think of that in your mind holes.
So we talked about Alien, but Aliens, the next one, as good as Alien, different. Very different. It's an action movie. Fun. It works. I thought it was good. There's a kid, but the kid's fine. You know, it's whatever. Alien 3 starts up, and I had a friend who talked up Alien 3 all the time. Like it was this amazing work of art and all this stuff, and all the studio screwed David Fincher and all this stuff. I watched that movie, and there were some good visuals. That was like it. I didn't care for it. I thought the story was dumb. What are the odds she lands on this one planet that's like a weird prison with no guns anywhere because she's anti-gun in real life? So they were like, oh, we can't have guns in this movie. So they took them all out, and it like doesn't make any sense.
Is that the one?
Very boring.
Is that the one where she has like the hybrid baby?
Yes. Oh no, that's the next one.
The next one. That's
the
like
next
Alien
one.
4.
Yeah. So Resurrection, they clone Ripley because she dies in Alien 3. Spoilers for Alien 3.
Came out 182 years ago.
Yeah, but they clone her about 150 years later. And so this new clone of Ellen Ripley has all of her memories and is also part alien because they decided to make it like a hybrid. And then she ends up impregnated. No, the third movie is the one she's impregnated by the alien. And she kills herself at the end so that the thing dies. And then they clone her, and in the future it's like this whole other thing. So you're thinking of the right movie. That was 3.
3.
Yeah.
Because I remember one scene where the baby comes up to her, and it's got like a humanoid skull, and it looks like covered in like clear skin. And it goes up and kisses her, or she kisses it, and then she wipes her mouth with all the acid, whips it at the wall of the spaceship, and it gets like sucked through the hole, leaving like the skins.
I don't remember that at all, and I just watched these movies.
Did I just make that up?
I don't think you did, but during Resurrection especially, I just wasn't even...
Could be a Mandela effect, you know?
I don't think it is. That sounds like something that would have happened, but I don't remember that happening at all. So that shows you how well I watch these movies.
It might be a different movie, then.
Making a fool out of me.
I'm pretty sure that happened.
So anyways, Predator, on the other hand, let's start there, because, amazing. Like an incredible movie. If you didn't know The Predator was a thing, and you went in just expect, it's a war movie, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. Right. Awesome movie.
You
Great
son
twist.
of a bitch.
Yeah, the bicep.
Yeah.
It's just, like, really well done. Works. It had perfect action. Felt like a movie that was about like military in the jungle. It didn't feel like it was one of these fucking monster movies or something. Then the second one comes along, and the second one's like, oh, let's put him in Los Angeles. And it's the dumbest shit until the very, very end when the Predator hands the pistol over. That's the coolest thing in that movie, and everything else sucks.
Have you seen the original design, the costume that they made for the Predator before, like, that one came? Oh, man.
I mean...
We gotta throw it up on there, right? It is...
We're not gonna do that.
Oh.
You can Google it yourself.
You see what I do. This is a cry for help, if anything.
Yeah. I'm not putting it up there.
It's absolutely like...
I'm the editor, not him.
He is. He holds that over my head every single day.
Every time I have the chance.
Yeah, it's a good cast in Predator, too. You got Carl Weathers, right?
No.
No. That is...
Racist is what it is. Because it's Danny Glover. And you should know that.
Is it Danny Glover?
Carl Weathers is in the first one. He's the guy.
Yeah, that's what I said. The first one. The first one has... I wasn't talking about the second one.
You said a good cast in the second one.
Nobody talks about the second one. Nobody. You said it...
You all saw it here, folks.
You said the thing... The only good thing about the second movie is he hands over the pistol.
Go ahead. Dig yourself out of this one.
I'm fucking shoveling away right now. Look at me.
So anyways...
16 tons.
Predator 2, the next one is called Predators. Fine, not great, fine. Robert Rodriguez produced it. Smacks of that. It's very 2000s-y. I know it's like 2010, but it's got that same tinge to it. Prometheus and Predators feel like they were made in two different ages.
Yeah, they're completely. Like... I watched them in theaters when they came out, and I was kind of like... Huh?
Yeah, Predators, at least I think the concept was good. Like, okay, so they realized that they're going to get fucked up if they go onto enemy turf and try to just hunt people, so they're bringing them to their own, like, game reserve. Makes some sense. Yeah. The rest of it is kind of nonsense in favor of, like, a cool movie. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Predators walked so that Fast and the Furious could run. Because from the first Predator to what it became... is so wildly different, and the same thing works with like Fast and Furious. They started out as like a street gang racing cars and shit like that. Maybe a little drugs in there, and now they're like from international spies.
Well, yeah, but from the beginning of Fast and Furious, it was about they were knocking off shipments, is what they were doing, and then in Fast 4, right? It's called Fast 4 or just Fast and Furious.
I don't know.
I think it's Fast and Furious.
There's like 11 of them.
The fourth one becomes a heist movie, and the fifth one, Fast 5, is like the one.
Yeah.
Like, very good, very well done. 1, 2, and Tokyo Drift, and then the fourth one. Those are 4 different movies.
Completely.
And then 4, 5, 6, and 7 are pretty much the same. 8, 9, and 10 are all like, we're secret agent spies now, and things are fucking crazy.
I'm gonna surf on top of a Camaro while I jump off a plane into another plane.
It defies logic why these movies are still being made. But there's 2 more of them coming at least to make a trilogy out of that last one. Yeah, and The Rock came back, even though The Rock and Vin Diesel had a fight because life is an endless nightmare that'll never stop.
It will never, ever stop.
So
good old Black Adam and Riddick just twisting each other's nipples on set. That's what that is.
So... The Predator comes out much later, and I hated The Predator. I thought it was boring, I thought it was crappy, I thought that the dialogue sucked. Something was pointed out to me I can't unsee, which is like, they don't understand how Asperger's or autism work. They don't understand how Tourette's works. They just threw these things in as like fake awareness for people with handicaps, and don't like it. And then around the same time you have Prometheus, which is Alien 5, kinda, and then Alien Covenant, which is like the 6th. And Prometheus, I thought was really cool looking at first. I thought the spaceships and all the stuff, all the spacesuits, all that stuff was really cool. And then I thought the planet and everything to do with the engineers looked boring and hacky as shit. It looked like bad, crappy paintings that you'd see around like Providence or Boston that are like painted on the murals, painted on the walls and shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. And then having the white xenomorph pop up at the end, dumbest shit in the world, and having to have like evolutionary, like, oh, we've got to go, first it's this alien, then it's this one, now it's this one, and there's like a blue one, and it's all nonsense. So I went into Covenant. I didn't hate Covenant so much up until the second half, and then I thought that this is just shit. But like all this stuff of them going down to the planet, all this stuff of them with the captain, he's gonna fuck up right away just because his demeanor is wrong and like all that stuff. Thought all that was good. Once it became, oh, now we have to do an alien movie, it's just like, okay, well, we've seen this before, done better, and like, it's what it is. But there's another alien movie coming out this year, and I'm not excited for it at all. And then just to cap off the Alien Predator thing, AVP Requiem, garbage.
Absolutely.
Woof.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. But getting off of Alien and Predator, one of my favorite Halloween movies from like when I was a kid was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
That's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah,
I love that.
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island like introduces you to Scooby and the gang, but after they're done being Scooby and the gang for a while. So Daphne and Freddy she's a reporter, he's a cameraman. Velma works at a library. Shaggy and Scooby are airport security. And
they get fired for like
eating a shitload of food.
Yeah, like eating the quarantine food from like France or whatever.
Yeah, for Daphne's job, she's going to this Louisiana bayou zombie place that's supposedly overrun by zombies, and they're like, oh, spooky, and for some convoluted reason the gang gets back together. They all go to this zombie island, and the zombies are real. And it's a great movie. Like, they're actually real. They have to find a way to stop the zombies. And it's this whole Louisiana Creole thing, very southern, and it worked really well. Like, and it was just a good, solid movie. It made them kind of restart the brand, and they did like Cyber Chase and a few other movies. And it's the reason James Gunn wrote the live-action movie, was because he liked it so much that he was like, we should have something like this.
Also had a pretty good soundtrack on there, from what I can remember.
That I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
For Zombie Island, I was too little.
It was pretty good, and spoiler alert for Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. The zombies
from 1998.
The zombies aren't the bad guys in the movie. The innkeepers are like cat people. And
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. Well, all right. So that's another thing about Louisiana that's kind of cool to dive into. They have a bunch of different things. They've got vampires down there. They've got mummies. Zombies, and they also have this cat person thing, which is like a southern thing. And there's a movie called Cat People, which kind of talks about there's this village in Transylvania that this girl is from, and she's afraid if she doesn't get married by a certain date, she'll turn into a cat, because that's what happens to the people in her village, supposedly. So this stuff all coalesces around Louisiana, and there's all this crazy lore down there and shit. But, yeah, the Cat People is fun.
They've also got that voodoo that you do.
Yes. Voodoo, there's so much, dude.
It's a very haunted place. I want to go there,
Yeah,
Some of the most haunted graveyards are in Louisiana. Or
well, not
Georgia.
anymore since all the bodies floated away.
Right.
So now there's
like, gone.
Yeah, now there's like a bunch of random hauntings going on in the ocean.
It's like a ghost out in the middle of the Pacific.
I don't know what the recovery for that was like, but I know that basically it's below sea level, so they had to do burials in tombs above the ground in Louisiana, and because of that, when Hurricane Katrina happened, if you don't know this, we lived through Hurricane Katrina, all these coffins were just floating down the street, and it's like, oh my god. And I'm sure there's got to be at least one story, because it seems like this is something that happened, where like a coffin, not very old, like a recent dead person, floated back to their family.
Oh.
And like, yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah, that would be terrible. But I bet you it happened.
I just picture some guy sitting inside a coffin with no lid and using the arm from the body.
Yeah, like a skeleton arm.
Yeah.
As a paddle.
I gotta get down the street to get me some gumbo.
What else? There's a lot of silly Halloween movies that aren't like
13 Ghosts.
Never seen that.
You never seen it? It's pretty good. I liked it. What's his face from Scooby-Doo? Shaggy there in the live action.
Oh,
Matthew Lillard.
yes.
Great
Who's
man.
also the bad guy in the first Scream. Spoiler alert for Scream.
Which came out 285 years ago.
Yeah. But there's the like silly Halloween movies that aren't like kids movies, like Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and Bubba Hotep, which admittedly all three have Bruce Campbell in them, but not Evil Dead 1, more Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are two of my favorite movies, and Army of Darkness is one of my favorites of all time. I love that fucking movie.
Like I said before, I love campy horror. So anytime they lean in, because like I hate when they try to make horror with weird like premises, like super serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love it when it's just like, you know, kind of like wink at the camera, like, hey, look at why we're doing this shit. It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
Well, you've told me before about how you laughed very loud during Hereditary.
Oh my god, I laughed my ass off during 2 parts of Hereditary.
Yeah.
And people take that seriously because they love they suck the dick of A24.
Well,
And,
A24 now, did you hear what happened with them?
No.
So they've announced that they're going to be branching out to more IP stuff, so they'll be buying the rights to stuff and making movies based on that, as opposed to a lot of the original stuff. And people have freaked out, but I think somebody pointed out that no, like, think about this, like, if they're doing IP stuff, they're making enough money to do the other stuff.
So like Blumhouse type of deal, where the like Transformers comes out 1 year, or is gonna come out, and then like a month before they release a movie very similar to that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Pretty much.
But Hereditary, I went and I watched it with my significant other at the time. And I was kind of sitting through it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good, you know. But at one point in the movie, spoiler alert, the girl is leaning her head out the window to get fresh air because she ate nuts at a party that she wasn't supposed to be at with her brother.
And she's allergic to nuts.
Who's driving home erratically because he's kind of drunk and he's worried and shit. And she reaches her head out the window, and as she does, a telephone pole clips her head off.
Yes.
And I laughed so fucking hard in a dead silent movie theater.
Yeah, because the moment is so
absurd.
It's a cut when it happens, and it cuts to a longer shot of the car just stopping by the pole and just stopping.
Yeah.
And you, as the audience, you know what happened. And it's just, it holds it for just a second, and yeah, it's a laugh. It's definitely a laugh.
I laughed for a good solid 90 seconds.
And I like that movie.
I like it too. It's a good movie. It's got its scary parts without being too fucking stupid about it too.
Yes.
But like I was sitting in the movie theater. My ex at the time, my ex is like gripping my hand, trying to get me to stop laughing because people are going like look, because the movie theater's packed. You know, it's like when it came out.
And to be fair, this is a child dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like you could just let fly in a theater like that. But
I did it twice.
Yeah, what's the second one?
Within 12 minutes. So, there's that scene of her, like, getting her head taken off. And then some part after, I for whatever reason, I linked this scene to a movie like The Muppet Movie.
Sure.
The Muppet Movie with Jason Segel, where, like...
Yeah,
the
Muppets.
Or am I a man? Like that
2011,
one. Yeah. So, directly after, or maybe a few minutes after her daughter getting her head taken off, there's a scene where Toni Collette, the mother in the movie, is screaming, and then it cuts to her screaming later,
yes.
and it cuts to her screaming later on at the funeral.
And it's the Walter,
it just reminded me of that, so I broke out laughing again for a good minute 20. Yeah. So, like, people were just...
Yeah.
I'm trying to be sad right now. It's like, this is goofy as shit. Come on, man.
There's a lot of people who, I think, when you go to a theater, you just relinquish all your rights to enjoy the movie. And you shouldn't expect to be able to watch the whole movie without being interrupted. You shouldn't expect that you're going to be sitting in a place where people aren't going to be right next to you munching popcorn or doing some bullshit that you're not doing. And that's just going to ruin your time. You have to acknowledge before you go, yeah, I'm going to go to see Killers of the Flower Moon this weekend. Sure, it's going to suck, but I'm going to do it. I got nothing better to do.
People are like...
Maybe I'll go Monday.
Yeah. Go Monday.
I read that book. I'm very excited for that movie. I've told you about all this, right?
Is that the
Osage.
Scorsese?
Yes.
Like with DiCaprio?
Lily Gladstone, Bob De Niro.
Bob.
That's what everybody calls him, Bob.
Oh, Bobby boy.
If you know De Niro, you call him Bob, I guess.
Bobby D.
I feel like I know him.
I feel like I know him too, you know.
So with have I talked to you about Killers of the Flower Moon? What it is?
Look at me. I fucking know you. I know you.
Have I?
I don't know. You
All right.
tell me.
All right, so
Who are you talking to?
Killers of the Flower Moon is coming out this weekend, and as we record this, and I read the book.
Yeah.
I love the book.
I've heard the story like on a podcast before, but I haven't read the book.
Well, you're going to hear the story on another podcast right now.
Look at that.
So, the Osage Native Americans were forced out of their land during the Trail of Tears, and like a lot of tribes, they went west and they were given like the shittiest possible plot of land. It was in Oklahoma. It was very rocky. The terrain was terrible for growing stuff, and they were there, I think, 2 or 3 years. It might have been like 5 before they found oil on their land that they were given by the government, and they basically like somehow the wealth in the Osage tribe trickled down to like mostly women in the tribe. So a bunch of white men moved to town and started marrying all the women, like charming them and all this shit. This is during the 20s. These people had cars. They had drivers. They were the wealthiest people in the country for a little while. They had so much oil money. They didn't know what to do with it. And so the government stepped in and said, well, obviously you're Native Americans. You can't control this money on your own. So they put in place, I believe they were called guardians. It was kind of like conservatorship, but it was a method by which you had to get an American citizen, a white person basically, to oversee your financial shit. And often those women died. They'd get married, they'd get killed, they'd get poisoned, their houses would be burned down. One was found shot in the back of the head and stabbed. Just this terrible, terrible thing. Well,
the local police would be like, she got stabbed and shot in the back of the head. Probably a suicide, you know.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think there were local police.
Probably not.
This is a story that tells the origins of the FBI. The Bureau of Investigation, which was J. Edgar Hoover's thing right before the FBI was founded, sent somebody down who's played by Jesse Plemons in the movie to do an investigation in the 30s. So this has been going on for a little while. And this guy goes down there and essentially figures out, oh, they've been like just killing these women to get the money consolidated into. And as you look at the family tree chart and how the money gets down, it ends up with like one person and then that person dies.
Yeah.
So the Bureau of Investigations goes in, figures out all this stuff. They're using things like forensics. They're trying to basically redo the work of, I think there were police who came in at the beginning, but they didn't know what to do and they didn't realize how big this conspiracy was, because it was like these random murders of random people that weren't connected.
Because like a localized police force is probably fairly new out there. I mean, before that it was pretty much frontier justice or lynching.
Yeah.
Like that would run out of town on a rail, like type of deal, you know? Where he walked out into the desert. He's never come back. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah. So yeah, the story follows this guy played by DiCaprio, his wife played by Gladstone, and Leo DiCaprio's uncle in the movie is Bob De Niro. And De Niro's character was this guy who ran the bank and was just a bastard. And like orchestrated all this stuff, blew up people's houses, all this crazy shit. So I can't wait to see this movie. It's a story that a lot like the Tulsa Race Massacre that happened in 1903, I think.
Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like that gets pushed down in history.
It does.
And
I didn't hear
that's
about,
unfortunate.
I didn't hear about that until like 2017. And that's a shame.
I heard about it sometime in college because we were talking about racial like injustice and how far back it goes. And then when they did Watchmen, the show, I was blown away by how well that was done. That was
a
incredible
great
to me.
show.
Yeah. hit right before the George Floyd shit, was a really poignant piece about race in America and, you know, the inequity of people who've been here a lot longer than a lot of the immigrants who came over later and get treated better because, you know, we're white. So there's a lot of that shit to go around in the country. But Killers of the Flower Moon is a story that I think everybody should know, at least, because it's really an incredible thing that it was ever able to happen. And the fact that it did is incredibly sad.
So much shit like that went down in the Old West.
Oh, in the world before technology, there were so many things that, and years later, you know, the Osage have a museum with this giant mural that is a big picture printed out, and in the picture there are faces that are removed. And when the guy who wrote the book went to the museum and said, like, who were those people? They said to him, we took those away because that's where the devil stood. And it's like, oh. And so that piqued his curiosity. That's what made him write the book. So,
Where the Devil Stood would be a good title.
Yeah. I like the trailer where he's going, can you see the wolves in this picture? Or can you find the wolves in this picture? And it's like a kid's picture book.
Yeah.
But, like, just keeps repeating that as, like, fires start happening. The bank explodes. And, you know, money's everywhere. And they're dancing in the oil. And yeah. What's his face did the music for it? Oh, I can't remember. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Billy Corgan.
I think it was Robbie Robertson of the band who just died.
Oh. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, good job. So, yeah, I mean, other than that kind of stuff, when we were kids, all the Disney Channel original movies and everything kind of set the tone of like, oh, it's spooky month, like, you should watch stuff. And I didn't really do that until a couple of years ago, but then I started, like, just mainlining, like, oh, I gotta watch this, I gotta watch this, gotta watch this, gotta watch this. There was a horror anthology from Eli Roth that was great at showing me, like, oh, I should watch this next, and I should watch this. Don't remember a single one of those movies off the top of my head to be like, oh, this one, or that one, Firestarter, you know, stuff like that. I have always been partial to movies that were, like, thrillers more than horror movies. Primal Fear, you ever see that?
I believe so, yeah.
With Ed Norton and Richard Gere?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Silence of the Lambs, obviously, is great.
It's great.
Some of the thrillers are better than the horror movies for Halloween.
Definitely. Sure. Like, it's... Because, like I said, unless it's campy, I usually don't watch it around this time of year. Like, yeah. I've watched Hereditary, like, twice. It's great.
Yeah.
But, like...
No, it's a great movie. It's just, it's got those two moments that you can laugh at.
Yeah, I died laughing.
Yeah.
At.
Yeah.
Like, guffawing would be the correct term, I believe.
Right. Just
feet up in the air.
Yeah.
And my
ex
just being, my ex just being like, and everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got a good couple of them if you care, or the people would like to hear my Rick's picks. I'll call them. Look at that. Huh?
So Alien Resurrection, I thought was just nonsense. The basketball shot that she does behind the back. Have you ever seen that clip?
No.
That's real. Ripley just wakes up, you know, clone, and she's getting her memories back, and the crew are wary of her, and Ron Perlman is one of the crew members. And he's just like, ladies can't do stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, and then she, like, behind the back throws this shot in, and then walks off camera, and they have the clip on YouTube of her doing that, and the crew going like, no way.
Yes.
So that's the only good thing that came out of Alien Resurrection. I'm sorry, did you have something to say?
Yes. I had Rick's picks for Halloween movies.
Well, we're out of time. That's all the time that we got for this podcast. And we'll have more of Bean's picks in the next podcast. What?
You Tesla'd me. You Edison, you're gonna fucking Tesla me?
Well, don't make it so easy.
Just shock an elephant in front of me. Look what his does, and the elephant blows up.
Yeah.
He did that. He did that. He went around it like
Edison,
shocked.
If you don't know this is a true story. Edison went around with an elephant multiple elephants, I guess.
Multiple.
And he did a demonstration because Tesla, I can't remember if it was AC current, alternating current, or direct current, DC current. One of them was known, if you touch it, it will grab you and cook you.
Yeah.
I think that might be direct current. And Tesla was a big proponent of it because he was a very smart guy and he knew how to utilize the technology. Edison went around with this, like, straw man argument of being like, look what happens when we hook an elephant up to this power, and it just cooked him alive.
It just cooked the elephant, it made it, like, explode in front of, like...
And he put it on video at least once.
Yeah, and they're like... He'd travel into, like, a small town of, like, 45 people and a creek.
Like, oh, you think this Tesla energy
Hey,
is
you
a
think
miracle,
Tesla?
huh?
And they're all like, we need food. And Tesla's like, well, come on, you're about to see food for your eyes.
Yeah. Why is that spinning like that?
I don't know. Haunting. A haunting in Connecticut.
It's the top of this thing somehow.
There we go. Look at that. It was spinning around like Exorcist.
I was watching a parody of Arsenio Hall that was Carsenio. It was Johnny Carson doing Arsenio, and it was Dana Carvey. And then there was another one that was Arsenio, and it was just Rob Lowe, and they were both SNL skits. And the Rob Lowe one, the guest was Linda Blair, who was in The Exorcist. And now back to Rick's picks.
Rick's picks. So the first one, probably the one that is my go-to for, like, if you're into horror, you've probably seen this, but if you're not, you might not have. It's a movie called Rec, like the abbreviation of recording, so R-E-C period.
You can skip this one.
It's a foreign film, Spanish. The whole thing is great. They made a remake in the States.
We'll go one for one.
Sure. That was called Quarantine, which sucked. But if you want, like, a good... It's kind of a found footage, kind of a quarantine-y deal. Like, basically based in an apartment building where something gets released and it starts making people, like, fucking apeshit crazy. It's a great fucking Halloween movie to put on. It's very scary. It's very dark. You don't see a lot of the violence that's happening on, but it's implied, or you do see, like, a little bit, but the whole movie's dark. So you don't see a lot of clear violence, but it's in there. It's a very sick movie that I try to watch every Halloween. You go.
Kronos, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Another one with Ron Perlman in it.
Yeah.
It's the story of an antiques dealer and his grandson, and the antiques dealer finds a scarab that, like, bites him. It's a golden scarab, and it turns him into a vampire, basically. He, like, dies, comes back to life as a vampire, but he's, like, fallen apart. It's body horror. And spoilers for Kronos, a movie made in 1994 in Mexico. The end of the movie has this moment that shocked me to my core when it happened, where the old man jumps and grabs Ron Perlman and kills him by, like, diving off the top of this scaffold with him.
Yeah.
And it comes out of fucking nowhere, because it's this whole movie of this guy dying. And then, like, the one moment where his family's in danger, he, like, snaps it and is like, yes! You got another one?
I do. As Above, So Below.
Oh, alright, yeah, sure.
Came out in, like, 2016, I think. I love that movie because it's not like... It's kind of on a league of its own for me, like on an offshoot of horror for me.
Yeah.
Where it's spooky, but, like, it's fucking freaky, too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the shit that happens in that movie is wild, and it's, like, some psychological horror as opposed to, like, just violence or just, like, you know, there's a lot of things implied in it, and there's a lot of things in it that aren't, like, in your face with the horror. You kind of have to extrapolate it in your own mind afterwards or as it's going on. So there are a few jump scares in there, and like I said before, jump scares to me are kind of like shaking keys in front of a baby.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it's, like, overdone to the point of it just being cliched to the point of, I will sit in a movie and prepare myself for a jump scare, and every time I'm correct. And it's just like, I don't
because you can time it now, and a lot of them are working against that timer now, but, like, if you start, you can time it when the music stops in a scene.
Yep.
Usually the beat after is when the scare comes, and you're like, oh, here's it going. This is where I'd put it.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't do it. Oh, there it is. Like that type of shit. Where I'm like, oh, you know.
I got another one.
Go ahead.
It's called Dead Alive or Brain Dead, depending on the region that you're in. But it's a movie by Peter Jackson. And it's a zombie movie, essentially about a guy who his mother dies and becomes a zombie, and then he's like comically trying to hide all of the zombies that end up at his house. And there's one point in the movie where he goes to a graveyard and he figures out that he has this. I don't know how he even meets this guy. He just goes to this guy and is like, I need tranquilizers. And the guy's like, okay. And he gives him like a syringe this big of tranquilizers. And he figures out that if he goes to the zombies, you either have to kill them by taking their head and like smashing their head, or you can inject them with this stuff and it knocks them out for like, you know, however long. And so it becomes this farce of him trying to like inject his mom through the nose with this needle a bunch of times to like put her down so that he doesn't have to kill her. And there's a scene where he chases her into a graveyard. Or no, he goes to her grave when she's first buried because he knows that she's going to come back. And these punks come in and think that he's trying to defile the grave or something. Mm-hmm. So they try to start fucking around and like gonna beat him up and piss on the mom's grave. And as the guy's pissing on the grave, the hand just comes up and grabs his dick. And then this priest shows up that did the funeral that day. And there's this great sequence of him just like kung fu fighting. And he jumps down at one point just like, yeah! And he stops and he's like, I kick ass for the Lord! Because it's also like New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then he just starts kicking ass, but then he ends up becoming a zombie. But one of my favorite ones that I watched this month.
He's like, oh no, I've become a fucking zombie, mate.
I might just throw that clip in here, because...
There you go. So, for my next Rick's pick, it's an episode of a TV show.
And that's all the time that we have time for.
That's all the time that we have time for?
No, not really.
You went to school.
I didn't go to school. Don't accuse me of that.
Yeah, you're like school in July. No class, eh? No class. Look at you, you slack-jawed fucking ape. You troglodyte. Yeah, runaway goofy style. He runs weird. It's real weird. That's his fucking profile there.
My hair's getting too long. I gotta go to a wedding soon.
So I have two more picks. This first one is an episode of X-Files that got banned because it's kind of brutal, and they bury alive a stillborn baby in the first opening credits, the cold open in there. It's called Home. I believe if you look it up, I think it's on Hulu, but it wasn't on like Fox when they were playing it. It showed once, and then they were like,
yeah,
no, we can't do that. Home is one of the scariest X-Files episodes, just for the body horror again, and it's more of a dark type of thing that you're more than you're used to with it. X-Files is a good fucking recommendation if you haven't seen it. It's very campy. There's a lot of episodes in there that are serious, but it's like 60-40 with like just campy bullshit in it, and I love it. My final pick for just stupid body horror, it's not even really like a horror movie, but there's a lot of like shitty like special effects, is another foreign film. It's called Ricky, R-I-K-I, Ricky O, R-I-K-I-O, The Story of Ricky. And it's a dude in a prison, and he basically fights the prison guards and all the prisoners. He's sent there on some bullshit charges or like that, but he brutally murders people, and the special effects are so fucking stupid and terrible that it makes this like one of those movies you hate, you love to hate, you know? It's a hate watch. It's so bad it's good. But yeah, that's Rick's picks.
There we go. And some of Beans' picks as well.
Yeah, because you had to fucking throw your hat in the ring, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody's hiding. It's crowding my icebox. Somebody's cold.
His mic's off now.
Giving me chill. Weezer job.
That is going to wrap it up for this episode, and that's going to wrap it up for Halloween month.
Halloween.
This one, This one's going to come out in time for Halloween. The next one will be after Halloween, so it's going to be different.
It's gonna be different.
All right. Well, for Don't Start Me Talking, I'm Bennie. For Don't Start Me Talking, this has been a conversation between two people with names.
People with names. We won't give them out because we are currently being watched by the people in the walls. And that is Bennie Williams. And I am Rick Owens. And you are a great audience.